How to genuinely start a clothing brand. So this is my first video here on YouTube, and honestly my first video really about giving free game or whatever you want to call it. So you're probably wondering, who am I and what are my credentials to be giving advice? So here's some proof that I actually know what I'm talking about. I currently own a clothing brand. It is called EXEPT Studios. We have around 70,000 followers on Instagram and I think around 30,000 followers on TikTok. I have generated over 6 figures in profit this year alone. And the reason that I titled my video how to genuinely start a clothing brand and not how I made $100,000 in 2 months or whatever people say on YouTube, because I'm very tired, and I'm sure most of you guys are, of the oversaturation of greed that has come into the clothing industry. Everyone is just talking about money and how much money they're making with their drops instead of the actual design process and what makes their clothes different. So I really just wanted to come on here and create a small little YouTube series of how to genuinely start a clothing brand that you are passionate about and you want to see grow instead of just doing it for the money. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into the video. Part 1, we're going to talk about how to find an identity for your clothing brand. Alright, so you obviously clicked on this video because you're interested in starting a clothing brand of some sort, but before you start wasting your time on picking a name and designing graphic tees, it's important to beforehand decide on the identity of your brand. The identity of a brand is the identity and vibe the brand gives off and what surrounds all the products within the clothing brand. It's important to remember early on that you aren't selling clothes, you're selling a feeling. So I personally think the best way to learn something is to study other people who have been successful. So we're going to go over 2 very dominant brands, Chrome Hearts and Supreme, and we're going to talk about their identities and how their identities made them successful. So we're first going to start with Chrome Hearts. Obviously, Chrome Hearts is a very big brand, a very unique brand, and a very dominant brand. I would say they offer more than just jewelry. They offer a unique symbol of luxury, but it's edgy, it's rebellious. It's obviously their gothic designs is something very unique from the time, which made them look different. And now with the whole opium stuff, you know, Ken Carson, those rappers, the gothic style has gone crazy, and so has Chrome Hearts. But notice how they didn't hop on the trend. They were Chrome Hearts before the opium and kind of gothic style took off, and they just happened to fit the narrative. Now let's move on to Supreme. Supreme isn't just clothing, it is a symbol of street culture and exclusivity. They're not just selling tees with a red box logo and Supreme in white letters. They're selling scarcity and the feeling of owning something rare and limited. This then sparks excitement and a feeling of community within those who also own Supreme pieces. This is what makes the clothes worth what they are. Now, just as a third example, my brand, to give a little personal vendetta, EXEPT Studios is not just the E-chain, earth tone clothes. I created it because I wanted to create a brand that embraces the feeling of loving nature and the outdoors within the clothes. When I started, I was very tempted to be all over the place and design different genres of clothes with my brand, you know, fit the trend that's currently going on. But in order to be successful with a clothing brand, it is very, very important to stick with your identity and stick with what made you successful in the first place. But in order to be successful with a clothing brand, it's important to find your identity and stick with it. EXEPT sticks with nature-inspired casual wear because that's what made it successful and it works. Now let's talk about how to find your vibe. Start with your interests. What inspires you? What's your passion? Let's say you're a skater, you love the thrill, you love the community. Your brand could capture this essence, reflecting the identity of skate culture. Remember, trends come and go, but your inspiration should be something enduring, something that resonates deeply with you because you are the owner of the brand. In the end, the most crucial element is authenticity. Your brand should be a reflection of you, your values, and your unique perspective. Don't chase a trend, be genuine, be passionate, and let your brand tell your own unique creative story.